Hi! Welcome to another Film Critters Processes. We're doing we just recorded one double feature and now we're doing another. We're doubling up on double features.
Double feature.
That's 4 features.
That's so many features.
We've been busy with streaming because it's a lot easier to watch movies, as it turns out.
Yeah.
When you don't have to go somewhere to do so. Not that we're anti-small theater.
No, I love to go to a theater.
It's great for this.
I love the experience of going to a theater, just maybe not in a world where like the only time I could do it is when I'm running from my job.
Yeah, no, I a lot of this has just made me go like, man, I hope when this is all over I can have a job where I don't work nights, literally only the nights that like movie theaters are showing movies that I want to go see.
Yeah. Work schedules. But yeah. We have 2 more movies to talk to you about. They're both kind of in the horror thriller camp, more or less.
Yeah. One is called The Wretched.
Oh, thank God.
The other...
I completely forgot what it was called.
Is A Good Woman is Hard to Find. Yeah, I know. The Wretched has that kind of very generic horror name where... like, you know, the Forgiven?
The something.
The Terrible?
And there's not... Do they even say, like, The Wretched or, like, call anything wretched in the movie? I don't remember. I don't know.
No. I realized, though, that the film was absolutely going to be called The Forgotten because they keep using that word a lot. But The Forgotten is already a horror film from 2004.
Yeah, a really fucking similar one, too. Like, I can see how that's definitely, like, within copyright territory, almost. Because I remember The Forgotten.
Yeah. I'm looking it up now. You're like, wow, that's, like, very, very similar territory, actually.
Yeah, The Forgotten is actually a way, way better movie than this, even though, like, I wouldn't say it's, like, the greatest, but it's at least more interesting, and it presents the concepts in a way that's, like, it's actually playing with them and working with them, whereas in this one, it's just really cheap gotcha, which we'll get into.
Yeah, so as always, spoilers.
Yeah.
If you were considering seeing this movie, a lot of people do call it Steven Spielberg-esque or something, by which they mean it's Stranger Things-esque.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to go see it and care about spoilers, I guess don't watch.
The disease of Stranger Things-ification is now affecting our independent cinema. Is this an independent movie?
It's released through IFC, so I assume technically it counts.
Yeah,
it's by
sorta.
like the Pierce brothers or something, but I don't know who they are, so we might as well call it independent.
I think it's a debut. I think it's a directorial debut.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'll give it some leeway on that front. But
that said, the Stranger Thingsification has never been more true in a film that does not ostensibly take place in the 80s, because the film is paced like a Netflix miniseries.
Yeah, well, it actually does. It apparently, well, let me... Oh, wait, no, yeah. It like, partially takes place in the 80s. There's, like, an 80s vignette, but it's, like, mostly, seemingly, pretty much modern day, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, like, relatively recent. Like, if it's in the past, it's, like, the fairly recent past.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have... Because they have the internet.
Which is great. Yeah. It's... To go into our feelings on it, it's not particularly good.
Some might say
to go into
that it was bad. It was a bad movie.
Yeah, it was not good, or it was not enjoyable very much.
It's Oh, you know what I forgot? I'm like looking at the synopsis. I forgot that there's a baby who dies in this movie, and it's just never touched upon.
That's true. They kill a fucking baby. Isn't it like early in the movie too?
It's like pretty early on, because it's like, okay, so what the Wretched is it eats kids, I guess, mostly. But it wears dead bodies as a suit. And it can
body snatcher
make
kind of
you
thing.
It can make you forget that people ever existed. So that's how it moves about. Is it kills a baby, and then it takes on the form of someone, and then it makes the people around them forget. Its power to do so seems pretty limited in that it seems like it can only really make the people it's currently hanging out with forget that a person existed, which would seem to lead to problems very, very quickly when, say, a child is reported missing, which just doesn't come up in this film.
Yeah. Like, there's more people than just the parents, I guess. Or, like, I don't know. I guess there's some sort of theoretical explanation that could come up around, like, how it wouldn't just become a scandal or whatever. But
it's like it then wouldn't make sense because it would require the neighbor kid to know that they had a child, and his friend to know that they had a child. Yeah. But for no one else to remember this child, and for no one to think it's weird that the kid is just missing and that the father is saying that the kid never existed.
Who does it affect? What are the rules? That was like the big thing with this movie, is that the rules just like kept kind of not really kept changing, but there was just like more and more shit. There was like I was waiting for a moment where like the body snatcher element would be kind of more idiosyncratic and like would develop its identity out more, and that never really came. And then like it just kept kind of introducing rules about the body snatching thing that like didn't really have any payoff, or like if they did, the main major payoff, of course, being like the thing of the main character secretly for the whole movie. There's no indication until the basically nearly the end, or there's like.
Well, we can get into those indications.
Indication.
Yeah, the big twist of the film is that the main character has a kid brother that the Wretched has made him forget. And when we say he has a kid brother that the Wretched has made it forget, we don't mean at the start of the film. We mean that through most of the film,
he is an only child.
He is an only child, and then when he realizes that he has a younger brother that the Wretched made him forget, it goes back and shows us every scene basically in the movie, and that he actually had a brother there the entire time who was just never acknowledged.
Donnie Darko has done like so much irreparable damage to like what we're willing to do in a narrative.
Here's my rule. You can't call something a twist ending if the twist is premised on the movie itself lying to you. Unless you're doing something like really interesting with that concept of the movie lying to you. But if what you're doing with that is that like, oh, we just didn't show you that this person existed, but like, we left hints, like, there's 4 plates at the dinner table. Didn't you think that was weird? And it's like, no, because it looked like a set design mistake. Like, it looked like a mistake.
Because your movie isn't good. You didn't do a good job.
It's not like there's scenes where, like, there are references to... There's, like, a scene where the mom calls him, and he's like, how are my boys doing? And it's like, okay, the mom's talking about the dad and the son. And then it's like, oh, she was actually talking about her 2 sons. And it's like, okay, why does she not, like, mention, how are my 2 sons doing? Hey, how's your brother, since you're not putting him on the phone?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... It's frustrating. It's just annoying.
And it's not even like he disappears, like, early in the film. One of the scenes we're shown is from a scene, like, 5 minutes before.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, the kid, like, it's like one of the scenes is, like, after the Wretched has taken the mother, or not the mother, the dad's new girlfriend, which is, like, the series of events that lead to the last act. One of the scenes is them going, like, we told you to stay in your room, and then the camera pivots around and it reveals that they were actually talking to the little brother, not the big brother we thought the whole, like, the scene showed us that they were talking to.
God.
But I'm like, so when did the kid get gotten?
Yeah. Like, the implications this has.
Like, why didn't the brother ever express in any of these scenes that we saw prior that, like, boy, I hope my brother doesn't get taken by this thing. I better tell my brother to be careful around the neighbor.
God. Yeah, it's, just stupid. Just a, like, and just, like, a really kind of, like, B plot script. The music was very, like, farty and very, like, Ghostbusters. Or not Ghostbusters, very Goosebumps.
Yeah, no, I remember you saying that the whole film feels like it's haunted by, like, the Goosebumps theme.
Yeah. Which, you know, doesn't necessarily always bode well for horror. Unless you're making it for Nickelodeon, which, like, with this film, honestly, they could have been. I don't know. It just didn't really feel like it was trying to be scary. There were a couple of moments that, like, almost landed, but then just didn't.
The part when she's, like, at the screen door, and it seems like at first they're going to introduce this idea that, like, she has to be invited in or something.
Right.
But then that doesn't end up being a rule at all, so it's like, why can't she just... It's a screen door.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
I was gonna say with the brother twist thing, it's so sad because, like, literally the one thing that would have changed it, and it still would have been annoying, but at least wouldn't have been infuriating. Is you just start the film in mise scène, whatever the term is,
mise en
scène, and you have the in media res.
Yeah.
And you have the character be like, here's what happened. Here's how we got to this point in the film. So then at least the rest of the film that we watch, we know is from his perspective. Or, like, is him telling us what happened or what he thinks happened. And then it makes sense that the brother would be gone and why that would be a twist, because we're like, oh shit, we're getting his memories. But we're not. We're getting what is supposed to be the objective lens of the film. We're not being shown his perspective because we're shown things that he's not present for, like, regularly.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's, like, a lot of different ways, kind of in the manner, more or less, that you brought up of just kind of abstracting it, and making his perspectives, like, central to how the movie's framed.
I would have even accepted it if they had introduced early on something that suggested that he had a young brother who died and that's why his parents got a divorce. Because even then it could have been like, oh, okay, like this, like, thing that we assume is going on, which is that, like, he's remembering his late brother is actually, like, him slowly forgetting his real brother because of the Wretched.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think... It would have presented more, I don't know, not to bring up the C word, but, like, conflict, I guess, or just, like, some sort of, like, some way to, like, centralize and be aware of the conflict between his perspective and his, you know, and what's actually happening, which would have also been really interesting to tie into the actual content of the story. But it did not seem like they were really interested in doing that at all. It was just kind of a series of, like, whoa, isn't that crazy and gross? Oh my God, isn't that kind of scary? Like, isn't this person acting, like, weird? Like, what the heck?
Whoa, wouldn't it be crazy if your mom made a baby, but then it wasn't your mom, it was your mom wearing your mom's skin, a monster wearing your mom's skin? Anyway, here's this extremely obnoxious character who is constantly horny and jerking off, and the tomboy's character who for some reason desperately wants to have sex with him.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah. I'm so upset that this person I barely know, and in the time that I've known you, has demonstrated that you are extremely cum-brained, got into the pool with the hot girl that you know better than me because she seemed like she was going to have sex with you. I feel so betrayed.
Yeah. I had really like I had really blocked out a lot of the sort of just like teen drama elements of it, just because they were really nonsensical and really stupid. Like I don't really know why. Like, well, he gets like the sort of like Joker style treatment of just like, oh, you're like the fucking beach cop, you're lame, we're cool, like that kind of shit.
Oh, I forgot about that extremely annoying subplot. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like his war with like those guys, which of course, like in classic like Nickelodeon original movie fashion, escalates into some sort of violence. But then he's also kind of like trying to appeal to them and like trying to like go to their parties and like appeal to their groups and shit. Which like and like getting drunk with them, which like, I don't know, like a teenager's decision making, like obviously, you know, it is what it is. But like it just all seemed like it was so the lens on it was like so justifying and so like, yeah, you get this because you're a teen, or like you were a teen or some, you know, some shit like that.
You
right?
were a teen 30 years ago. We used like we were.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know. I like did not. I just didn't care. I just didn't fucking care. I didn't care about the main character or his problems and his obsessions socially or whatever. Just wasn't interesting.
It's what I meant about like how this film has that Stranger Things thing and like why it feels like it was supposed to be a miniseries is because we're given so much of that, but it doesn't develop. Like it doesn't have any room to develop because it's also trying to tell like a tight 90-minute like horror film.
Yeah.
And so it's like if this was like a miniseries, I could see the pacing of it where it's like first episode, you have the flashback thing in the 80s, you introduce the main character, he starts to notice weird things going around this town, and then the first episode ends with the conflict of his neighbor hearing the voice in the woods. You know, right. Second episode, the deer arrives, the Wretched is now in the neighborhood somewhere around. We learn more about his stupid job at the docks or whatever. Like it feels like it should have been paced out longer so that there would have actually been a balance of like character development as like bullshit teen stuff. Because then there's also like his neighbors are like 4 people, and we're given like very little time to understand who any of them are. Yeah,
there's an entire like separate family that we have like very little info on.
Also, I'm reading the description right now, and I'm a big fan of this line about the twist, about the second twist at the end. Later, Ben and Mallory kiss goodbye, and she puts a flower in his hair before leaving to give sailing lessons. Ben notices the flower is fake, revealing that the witch is alive and is now possessing Mallory, who is alone with 3 children. Which is like such a like weird twist. Like, oh my god, the flower is fake. That must have been the Wretched, because only the Wretched would have fake flowers. Like, I can't know that wasn't the Wretched because the flower didn't wilt. But there's really no reason for me to assume that is the Wretched because of the fact that the flower is fake.
Yeah, that's a very like false correlation. I didn't even remember that. I think I tuned out so hard by that point.
It was like very much so like the last minute of the film is like, oh, the witch is still alive and she has Mallory, and it's like, and isn't Mallory a kid? Wouldn't she eat? Is Mallory too old? What's the age range for the Wretched's meals?
Rules, so many rules.
Oh yeah, and like the weird thing where she could also like possess people, kind of like I forgot that she also like whispers something into the cops' ears, which makes them drive Ben to the beach to try to kill him in the ocean.
Yeah, it just too much. Like the hypnosis shit is just like there's already so many like powers and things at play, but like I don't know, it's part of the like whole forgotten thing, but like there's just so many tiers to it.
It's what a weird movie. What just like a series of not thought out like plot things that the film somehow got buzz about. I assume because it like stylistically reminded people of movies from like the late 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that I'm scrolling through kind of the description of the movie now, or the synopsis. And the other thing is that like a lot of the conflicts are just about like a supernatural force, like kind of framing a character, which I always find to be like a kind of annoying or like personally annoying kind of narrative to me, just because like I don't like the idea that this like body snatcher is so hyper focused on like a 16-year-old and what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, why would they fucking care? Like, honestly, okay.
The paranormal body snatcher who has a seemingly limitless amount of powers at her disposal is not concerned about, say, the police being like, where are all these kids going? But is concerned that the 16-year-old next door is like gonna fucking Nancy Drew his way to the solution.
Like, that's the thing. And I'm actually gonna cite a J tweet here, but the one where I'm just gonna post a screen cap of it because I can't even quote it, but the one where you're like impersonating a Hiram Lodge being like, yes, those teenagers who are gonna destroy my company, and it was like, back up. You said teenagers?
Yeah, it's like on the next stage, like, we will take out Archie Andrews. It's like, Archie Andrews is like, yes, the local high schooler and his pal, Jughead Jones. They've been quite the thorn in my side. And it's like, Mafia guy, I'm sorry, did you say high school?
Like, that's just, I mean, like, maybe it's just like symptomatic of me being the outside of the age range of this movie, which is like fair, I guess. But I also, like, the movie wasn't really marketed very clearly on that front either. And like, I don't know. And also I like horror, and also, I don't know, man. I guess you're right. I guess this is a movie for little baby teenagers or whatever. I have no idea. Was it?
I'm trying to find the rating, but regardless of it got like favorable reviews. Like not across the board, but like that was what got me interested in it. Was that I saw like multiple like good reviews. Like there was like on the website when I went and visited it, like splashed across it was a quote where people were like, it's like a Stephen King horror film, or not Stephen King, it's like a Steven Spielberg throwback kind of a thing. Like it was something that looked like it would be that kind of genre of film done well. So when it was like terrible, I was like, oh, like this is what's getting so many good reviews.
Yeah, for real. It's
I can't find just what the movie was rated for. Did they just not have to rate it because they released it online instead?
I'm sure it had to have been. They hide the rating on like posters and shit now.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that. It's really weird. It's really weird how hard it is to just find what a movie is rated now.
Yeah. The Wretched rating. Oh wait, not rated. I just saw it. Not rated.
Okay, so it is just not rated.
It has simply not been rated.
By the way, this is apparently the number one movie in America because of COVID-19. Like, apparently it's doing really, really well in the online box office.
Congrats, I guess.
So yeah, congrats to the Pierce brothers. They're like, we're just a little movie from Michigan. We always aim for the moon, but with independent film, you think, yeah, we'll come out in a few theaters, and we'll play for like a week. Maybe 10 people will see it. So I guess congrats that your so-so movie is taken off. Hopefully the next thing you make is either better or a lot worse so that it's more entertaining.
Yeah. One or the other. You gotta pick your poison. Yeah. So I guess in summation, what would you rather have spent your $12, I guess, on?
God. Like maybe, okay, so I think The Boy 2 came to streaming as well. And like if I bought that and had like a little like screening of it. Actually, you know what? The Boy 2 in theaters. Like if I'd gotten to see The Boy 2 in theaters before quarantine. That's what I would have spent it on.
What would you not rather have?
What would I have rather not spent it on? Oh, Trolls 2 on streaming. Because I can't believe that movie is what is killing movie theaters.
Oh my god. So wait, why is it killing movie theaters? I've heard a little bit about this.
So it exploded. Like, it did so well. Like, so much better than, like, they expected and, like, that it probably would have done in theaters. That they're like, maybe we're going to start experimenting with just releasing films, like, just on streaming instead. Which led to, I believe it was either AMC or Regal, basically saying, we are no longer going to be carrying Universal films because this violates our contract with them.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's insane. And so, like, it might end up being, like, that kind of stuff might end up being what pushes the theater, like, a lot of distributors to just start doing digital distribution, which itself would be really funny because I don't think they realize that the reason why it did so well in digital distribution is because nobody can go outside.
Yeah. Yeah, that might maybe, like, putting 2 and 2 together on that one would be a little better.
So it's going to be really, really funny to see them try to recreate the success of it and not realize that once people can, like, leave their house and thus can just, like, go rent a movie or go to Redbox, that they're probably not going to be like, oh, the new Trolls movie, I better pay $10 so my children can watch it.
God. So yeah. Well, I would rather have spent my $12 on. I've actually been trying to rewatch Pulse, the original J horror film.
Oh yeah, how is it?
I've seen it before. It's really good. This movie kind of made me think about it, and I kind of want to watch it again, but it is fucking nowhere on the internet that I can find. I checked Shudder and I couldn't find it on there. And yeah. So if anybody knows where I can stream Cairo, aka Pulse.
Hey, you know what? I think I do actually know where you can stream Cairo. I'm checking because I'm pretty sure I've seen it on there. I swear, I'm pretty sure that it was on Canopy for a bit, but I don't see it there right now. But I will continue looking, and I will tell you where I found it. I think it might have been.
I keep, like, missing my chance. Like, it's on things for just, like, such a small window, and then I miss my chance.
It's so weird, because I didn't know that things, like, went off of... I actually didn't know things went off of Canopy. I guess now I know.
Yeah.
Oh, Canopy's... you know what? It is on Hoopla. That's where I saw it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then
you have to search for Pulse, though, because it doesn't come up as Cairo. It comes up as Pulse, but it's the original.
Oh, thank God. Right.
For those listening at home, sign up for a library card through your local system because they probably have Hoopla or Canopy.
Oh my God. You don't have to don't use fucking Audible. Get a library card. There's like a fucking million apps that you can just sign up with your library card number and get any audiobook you want.
Our local one lets you sign up for Lynda, which is like one of the big, like, here's how to learn like any Adobe product and like a bunch of other like insane like tutorials. Like you if there's something that you've been having to pay for to get information or access to media or anything like that, you probably can get it for free and with better options through the library.
Literally. So please everyone get a library card. If and when you can.
I think most library systems are doing online signups now, or like have some sort of like temporary system so people can sign up while they're trapped inside.
Fuck yeah. Hell fucking yeah. And then you can stream all sorts of amazing cinema on Canopy and Hoopla and other such streaming services, dude. So yeah, the benefits are literally just like completely, Just do it.
It's free. Like that's kind of the big thing is like it's free. So even if you don't do it regularly, it's like you're getting it for free. And I've pretty consistently found that there have been times where it's like an obscure movie I want to watch is on Hoopla or Canopy.
Yeah, or it's fucking at my local library. Like I think I found a Mike Lee movie at like a library that's like 20 feet from my house, but I couldn't find it anywhere else on like streaming. So
yeah,
you know, fuck around.
I had that with like a Portuguese horror film called the Headless Woman, I think. Like I was trying to find it and it was just on DVD at the library, so I went and checked it out.
God. Yeah. But anyway,
now that we've done our bi-monthly advertisements for the library, let's a good streaming service is hard to find. More like a good woman is hard to find.
Hey, oh,
what's the title of our next movie? I'll start off. I don't know why the movie's called that.
Well, that's good. That's always great.
I was waiting. I don't know. Maybe somebody said that line at some point, but I don't think they did.
I mean,
and it didn't really have anything to do with like finding a good woman.
I think it's kind of like supposed to obliquely be in reference to her like doing the bidding of the man who like broke and entered into her home, and like the idea of like she would be a good woman if she listened to him, but by being a bad woman, she's protecting her family. So I guess a good woman's hard to find after all. I didn't finish the movie, by the way.
How far did you get? Do you remember where you left off?
I would say I got about halfway through.
Did you get to the part where she dismembers the guy in her bedroom?
No, I don't think I even got that far.
That to me, it's sad because like that second half of so the first half teases some really good stuff with the acting. The second half is where it becomes like a Smoking Aces style film.
Right.
Which is, in my opinion, like the strength of it and like where the actress like has a lot of fun with the role that she's doing. There is a scene where she kills the drug dealer guy, and then the cops come to her house because there was a disturbance, and she has to cover it up. And they're like, well, we're setting you up with child services because we think you're an alcoholic. And then she goes to the hardware store and like buys basically the stuff to dismember the body. And like the store clerk is like, oh man, be easier to just lose him, wouldn't it? Just leave him, wouldn't it? And she goes, what? And she's like, oh, it's just a joke. So it's like, okay, so she's clearly buying this stuff to do it, covers her bedroom in plastic, dismembers this guy with an axe, and then like disposes of like each parts of his body in different trash bins across the country, across the neighborhood.
Yeah, so I think I might have actually gotten up to like just around that part. Or actually like, yeah, I must have seen some of the dismemberment. Basically, like, I don't know, I'll just kind of run through like my feelings and why I kind of gave up on it before I kind of interrogate you about what like the rest of the movie and like what you think. But to me it was really just like it felt like a kind of conservative like this could happen to you, you know, it like kind of uncritical sort of like Reaganite, like a drug dealer could come into your home at any time. You have to be prepared to protect yourself and protect your family. And that is also like kind of, it's like that as like the main plot of her hiding drugs for this like drug runner guy. And then like the B plot of everything that is just going wrong with her life. And how like people are kind of like insisting that she's not capable and all this shit. That just, it just felt, kind of reactionary. And I definitely have like a really sensitive reaction to movies that are about like specifically young mothers, because we have our, we have our controversial opinions about like the Babadook. I also really hated Goodnight Mama.
Oh, I also hated Goodnight Mommy. That movie fucking sucks.
Yeah. And just be like, and that's just something that I've grown to be like really, really hypersensitive about, and like, oh, and like we need to talk about Kevin is another one. But like, and I it's hard to place just because I just think, it doesn't feel like it definitely depicts this sort of very real, like overwhelmingness, but a lot of it, like everything, all the stimulus is like turned up to 11 in a lot of ways, and like everything is so dramatized that I just like find it hard to like it just takes me out of it. I don't know if you felt the same way or how you felt, and I guess I should interrogate you on like how does the movie end and how you like feel about how it kind of where it kind of leads to.
So, I could definitely say I think that's probably not a like unreasonable feeling to have for the film. And part of the reason I was like, oh, I think you might have dropped off like right where I kind of liked the film picking up, is because I don't think the film is going for that reactionary thing, and it's going for the reactionary thing in the sense that it's a revenge film, and revenge films always sort of have a little bit of a reactionary vibe to them.
Yeah.
But it's a lot less that, like, this could happen to you, and that's why you have to be ready to defend your family. And it's more that the drug dealer's, like, interception in her is what sets off the chain of events that leads her to solving her husband's murder and then getting revenge for her husband's murder. So the drugs that he stole are from the people who murdered her husband.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
So after she's murdered him, they end up like, because he has like some weird, like very like uncommon name, but they overhear the daughter, because she's like very young, like repeats his name, like while they're leaving one of her appointments that she has. And one of the guys hears it up because they've been looking for this guy and they can't find him because she murdered him.
Right.
And so, you know, like there's like these things where it's like they come to her door and she knows that it's involved somehow in this like this drug dealer that she just had to deal with, and so she's freaking out because she doesn't know, like, do they know that I murdered him? Like, are they coming to look for the drugs? Because the kid destroyed the drugs, so I don't have the drugs anymore. And the son is nonverbal because he witnessed the father's murder, and the son recognizes them. And she recognizes in her son's reaction that, like, these are the murderers. So the film kind of becomes her sort of, like, on the run, trying to hide from them, and then sort of realizing that, like, she can't keep running away from them. So she, like, goes and meets them and is like, okay, I'll bring him to you. And then when she gets there, there's, like, kind of a conversation and stuff about it. And he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, where is he? And she's like, okay, you want him so bad? Here he is. And she throws his head on the ground.
Wow.
Reaches like into her bun and like pulls out a gun and shoots one of the guards.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's that's why like I kept saying like it's like Smoking Aces but like with the main character. So like a big problem I had at the film is like I feel like the pacing, I wanted the film to be more of that. Like I wanted the film to be more of like this mom, like you've pushed this single mother too far.
Yeah.
Because that's what the film was kind of sold to me on. And I feel like it has a very similar problem to Assassination Nation in that it spends too much time setting those pieces up and not enough time in like letting those pieces play out. Which I think is what makes like for a satisfying revenge film is seeing those pieces play out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, to kind of just immediately roll into like comparing and contrasting, like, Lady Vengeance is a really good example just because it, it's one of my favorite movies. It fucks with the narrative like really, really hard, and it like just presents information in like a really interesting order. But then it also like there's like a vengeance that takes place in like the first, second, and third act that is like kind of compound, and then like there's all these reasons for like, oh, this vengeance isn't enough, we actually need to like kind of up the ante, and like we need to change the process. It it's just a pacing thing for me. Because man, like that sounds like a really cool ending. I wish I had any indication that it was going in that direction. For like the first like more than half of the movie.
Yeah, no, I think I only really knew that it was going that way because I'd watched the trailer, so like I knew that there's a part where she fully snaps.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm trying to remember what else was like. There was like another point I was gonna bring into it. A theme that I thought was kind of interesting is like there's a running theme of people making assumptions about her. Like, there's the creepy guy at the grocery store who at one point makes a comment where, like, it's very clear that he assumes she's a sex worker.
Yeah.
There's the hardware store owner who assumes that she's in an abusive relationship. There's the police and social workers who assume that she's an alcoholic. There's her mother who assumes that she's like going insane because of grief. Like there's all these people who see this woman in distress and their assumptions about it are all judgments of her.
Damn.
And that's like a thing that I really liked in the film is like the thing that kind of pushes her to be like, I am the only person who can do something about this is that all these people who encounter her and see her clearly in distress are all like very condescending to her, or like even if they diagnose that she's in a bad situation, like it's not just that they're wrong, it's that they're like, oh well, like, you know, you should solve it.
Right, yeah. Or it's like such a simplification, where like, yeah, people are just trying to kind of compartmentalize something so they can think about it in a certain way, or like provide a certain type of advice.
Yeah, and it even ties into like there's a theme of like gaslighting to that too, where it's like I don't know if you remember, but when the police are talking to her about her husband's death, they basically are like, we're not investigating it anymore. And I don't remember if it would have been at the point you had gotten, but it's sort of revealed that the reason they're not investigating it is because your husband was a drug dealer and he died in a drug deal gone wrong. And she's very much like, that's not true. My husband was not a drug dealer. And even her own mother is like, your husband, like, he was nothing but a drug dealer. Like, that's what the police say. And then at the end of the film, when she's like confronting like the basically the crime boss, like, why did you kill my husband? He's literally like, oh, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, he witnessed us doing something that he shouldn't have witnessed us doing, so we killed him.
Damn. That's really fucking good.
And then he's like, and I just used like, you know, like I have connections in the police department, so I just used those and I told them that it was a drug deal that had gone wrong.
Damn.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's like I definitely think the film has like pacing issues. And it's very disappointing that like, cause like I thought the direction it was going in until she murdered the dealer was that it was going to be like this weird thing where like they team up to like get revenge or something on them. So I'm glad it wasn't, because like it's much more interesting that the other way. But yeah, the film is a very weird pacing, and that the first half of it feels very woman in peril, and then the second half is very woman like a Laura Dern style character.
Yeah, that sounds much more interesting. I kind of wish I'd stuck it out in retrospect, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it happens. There's plenty of films that I like got a little bit in and then I stopped watching them, and then like later I hear about what happens the rest of the film and I'm like, oh, I would have watched it if I knew that was the payoff.
Which, that's like, you know, that's kind of another issue with the sort of like the sort of switch to streaming, I guess. It's like a lot easier to kind of incentivize yourself to drop out and kind of give up on something. Because like, at the time I was like giving it my all, but it was just shaping up to not be the type of movie that I wanted to not be the type of movie that I wanted to watch. And maybe my assumptions were were wrong, but also my time is important to me, and blah, 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 whatever.
I think that's that's definitely like a risk that I think is sort of not being considered with streaming. And it's sad because, of course, we all know that risk's payoff is going to be that like movie theaters are like, well, we don't care, we have your money. Because like I have walked out of a very small handful of films that I've seen in theaters because it's very much so a thing of like, well, I spent the time and money getting here, so even if it is like really boring and sucks, I want to see it through. I don't even want to go through the process of trying to get a refund. Like, a movie has to be bad enough that I'm like, I don't even want my money back. But if it's like streaming or like I'm watching it on my computer, it's so easy for me to just be like, this sucks. One scene is boring. This sucks. I turn it off.
Yeah.
Plus, like when you're streaming at home, it's easier to have things that are like, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I could be like reading a book. I could be looking at something else right now.
I could be learning or maybe playing Skyrim or doing anything.
Yeah, but when you're watching something at home, it's and that's maybe a condemnation of our millennial ADHD dopamine stained brains. But I will say that I have sat through some fucking boring ass films in theaters because it's easier. It's easy when you're in a theater. It's like, well, okay, I'll pay attention. But when you're watching something at home, it's really easy to just look to your left and be like, another thing.
Oh, other fixation. Yeah, but did you have any other or I guess did anything stand out to you about the movie that you wanted to kind of highlight?
I did really like the actress's performance.
Yeah, she was definitely good, doing a good like frantic performance throughout. What I was watching.
I liked that the children are like an essential part of the story, but sort of wisely not foregrounded because it's really hard to get like strong performances out of children. So I am glad that the film sort of wisely has them there and has a lot of really cute scenes of her interacting that come off to me like they probably were like, okay, like this kind of scene is going on, so play with the actors, actually play with them like an older like woman would play with kids and stuff. And so like those make for these like really cute moments of like relief in between all the stress that's going on in her life. There's just scenes of her dressing up with the kids or scenes of her like laughing with them, and I like it because like it does a good way. It's a smart way to like establish that like this is a mother who cares about her kids without trying to script it in a way where you then have to like, well, what would a kid say in this scene? And then you get like the really bad writing that a lot of children have in films.
Yeah. And I think the presence of child is definitely like a kind of catalyzing factor for like just bad decisions. I didn't really like I don't know. I guess I understood. The movie like to that point, when like it made it clear that like the kid had done a bunch of drugs, I was just like, man, like that's just like really, that's just like turning it up to 11, and just like the way that it kind of like escalates like around the kid. I don't know. It was like. Yeah, I do agree with you that like not centralizing like the kid's performance was definitely what made it more tolerable, though.
Yeah, no, it helped. It made the correct decision, which is you can do a film about parents' relationships with the kids without having to necessarily foreground the kids in a way that can really make or break a project.
Were there any like little moments that like stuck out to you out of anything else?
I am always weak for scenes of women covered with blood, like blood on their face, acting hysterical. So the scene of her slowly dismembering a corpse, and like there's like a really great performance of her like holding the saw above the body and like looking at it and like having to come to terms with what it is. And then as she saws into it, like just a bit, she saws into it and the blood comes out. Just this like full body Ralph. Like such a stellar performance. Like the whole film is really worth just the scene of watching her dismember a corpse in her bedroom and then frantically like clean the little bits of blood and stuff that got through, because it's just like great full body acting of just like having fully committed to doing this, but every like incremental step of doing it, like having to reface the horror of what she is doing like all over again.
Is there anything that pops out that you would rather or not rather have spent your streaming bucks on?
I guess I'm glad I didn't use them to rent like Smoking Aces on iTunes or whatever.
Oh yeah,
because like that's what I said is like it reminded me a lot of that era of film and kind of scratched the same itch those films used to do, but like probably wouldn't anymore, because like I would watch them now and I'd be like, wow, these are like dumb and like not interesting. But this movie was dumb and interesting, so
it was both for the price of one. That's a great deal, actually.
And I would have rather have spent my streaming money. Let's say just like some stuff, like some like things to do, like home repairs around the house, like a hammer and like a saw and like a room's worth of plastic wrap.
You know, gotta get it used. Yeah,
gently used.
Movies.
Movies. They're all right.
They're okay. They're whatever.
I guess I'll say like I said, we are doing 2 double features. So the other one's probably already out. We also have a special 3rd episode with a special guest that Brew is editing right now,
which could very well be out. Who knows?
We can't promise that next month will be nearly as busy as this one is. I guess into sort of the next month we're gonna be. But we just watched a lot of movies this month because there was a lot that we were interested in. Who knows what the future cinema will be? Bad, probably continuing to be bad, I guess.
Just a constant descending of quality until absolute zero.
Check us out on Patreon. They get to see the episode every 3 days early. And we do a special Patreon exclusive thing for people who pay $5 and up.
Yep. Film Critters throws it back. We do films of any era as voted on by all of our patrons. So get in on that. It's really fun. We have fun doing it. I am Baru.
I am Jay Bearhat.
Bye. Bye.